All right, people, we have a crazy rumor right now. Everybody on Twitter is talking about it. Everybody is shocked by it. And the rumor is this: Nintendo is making a new Mario game. I'm not joking. That's what people are talking about, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get into it. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Botox Games, and today I wanted to discuss this new rumor of a new codename for a project at Nintendo that a lot of people are assuming is a new Mario project. Kind of poke fun a little bit because this is not really that interesting of information. It's cool to know the code name, but we really have no context. So for those out of the loop here, this is coming from Midori, one of the most reliable leakers. This is the Sega Atlas leaker. In recent times, they have been branching out though, and they've been doing some Square Enix stuff. They've been doing some Nintendo stuff. I didn't make a video on it, but they did recently do that buffet or banquet code name, I believe it was, for a Mario Party game, and people were like, oh. And then they said it was in development at ND Cube, so safe to assume there's a new Mario Party in development, go figure. But they also leaked the codename for the supposed Breath of the Wild remaster on Nintendo Switch. I did make a video about that, go check out that video. But we have a new tweet from them last night that says this: there is a project at Nintendo in development with the codename SP Red, with some follow-up tweets here. Red is Mario codename. There was a project at Nintendo with the title Silver Star. Super Mario Odyssey is Red Star. So we have a few things to kind of break down here. I wanted to make this video because I just think it's very funny how people are really like, oh my gosh, a Mario game's in development. Like, actually, unironically, that is the point we are at with Nintendo speculation, where people are unironically being like, oh yes, a 3D Mario game's in development. Guys, come on. It's cool to know the code names, and it's very interesting how Midori is getting this information. They must be very high up in the industry in Japan or something, because they were tweeting stuff about Sega and like how they plan on using AI in development. So like, they must be pretty high up at Sega or Atlas, I imagine. And somehow they have a very real source for Nintendo games as well now, it seems. But I do find it a little amusing that people are really getting this excited about code names that really give us no context. Banquet or buffet, whichever one it was, yeah, it's a Mario Party game. There's always a Mario Party game in development, and likewise, there's always a 3D Mario game in development. We're expecting the Switch 2 to come out next year. You can kind of put two and two together, right? The interesting one for me was the Breath of the Wild codename rumor, because that implies something that we wouldn't have really necessarily expected, and that is a Breath of the Wild remaster. But anyway, you know, I understand people want to get hyped up. I won't rain on your parade anymore. Let's talk about this codename and what it might mean for the next 3D Mario game. So the codename is SP Red. Now, for those that don't know, Red is the codename kind of structure that Nintendo uses for the mainline Mario games. For example, 3D World is Red Carpet, Odyssey is Red Star, but it also applies to the 2D Mario games as well. So like New Super Mario Bros. 2 is Big Red, New Super Mario Bros. U is Red Pro, Mario Wonder most recently was Sec Red. So I think that's kind of a play on words on sacred. That's kind of what I thought with that. So I guess it could be a 2D Mario game, but considering we just got one last year, I think this is almost certainly the next 3D Mario game. It also wouldn't be a port of any other Mario game, I don't think, because we've seen with their codename structure that they typically add like a letter or something to designate that it is a remake. So for example, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is like Go-Go S, I think, or even with 3D World on Switch, that is Red Carpet S. SP Red, there's no other Nintendo game called like P Red. The closest would be Red Pro, but yeah, I think it's safe to say that this is the next mainline 3D Mario game. I could be wrong, but make of it what you will. Now, while trying to figure out what this codename could mean, you know, and looking at the other code names, I feel like Red Carpet kind of makes sense for 3D World. There's that whole like carnival theme and like festival theme with a lot of the levels in that Bowser world. Like Red Carpet, that kind of, I don't know why, but that kind of feels right. Red Star with Mario Odyssey, I'm not sure how much that really correlates with what Odyssey did and all of the different worlds you go to. I mentioned that Sec Red was the codename for Mario Wonder, and how that kind of feels like a play on words on Sacred. And I'm not really sure how Sacred correlates to Wonder, but maybe SP Red is a play on the word spread. And maybe that kind of suggests it's going to be open world. I mean, a lot of people have been expecting that after Bowser's Fury. I personally would also expect that. I do think the next 3D Mario game, maybe not fully open world like a Breath of the Wild, but certainly more open than Odyssey was, and something more along the lines of a Bowser's Fury from 3D World on Switch. I think that could be, maybe that's a little too on the nose, though. I don't know if they would give it a codename spread, just because it's a spread out environment, you know? I was also thinking that SP in this instance could refer to the word special. Nintendo likes to use that a lot. I think of like the NSO games when they added the SP variants. I'm sure there's plenty of other examples of Nintendo using SP, but special could be special red. And I feel like that maybe makes the most sense, at least from where I'm sitting, because 2025 is the 40th anniversary for Mario. I think they will likely be using that as a marketing kind of pitch for this game. Like, hey, it's the 40th anniversary of Mario. Nintendo really likes to celebrate Mario birthdays. We see it basically every 5 years. Whenever they hit a milestone anniversary, Nintendo likes to go crazy with the marketing. I mean, last time we got 3D All-Stars and Bowser's Fury and Mario 35. The time before that, we got Mario Maker, and that had like a booklet in the package. The time before that, we had Mario All-Stars on Wii. So they pretty much always do something special for Mario's anniversary. I think it is likely they will tie in the marketing for this new 3D Mario on Switch 2 with the fact that it is Mario's 40th anniversary, which is a big one. And I was thinking, like, well, if that's the case, could it be possible that this game's theming might be actually based on that, like the history of the franchise, almost like a Sonic Generations type thing? Like, could we see a Mario game that is so focused on the fact that it's Mario's birthday that it actually really hones in on elements of the franchise's past? I'm not really sure exactly what that would mean. Maybe it's a nice new, really high quality 3D Mario with like a weird 8-bit brother Mario, and you're kind of playing between both of them. We saw the 2D sections in Odyssey, and those were really cool, so maybe we could see more of that. Maybe we'll see some old worlds return in this game from past Mario games. We saw that, I think, in Galaxy 2, with the Throwback Galaxy that brought back some stuff from Mario 64. I think that would be really cool. I know people don't love nostalgia bait, but I think it would be justified. Like, I would be okay if Nintendo made a game, a Mario game, that really focuses on the legacy of 3D Mario. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think SP Red means for a codename for a 3D Mario game? Like, do you think we can really glean any information from this, or is it really just shooting in the dark? That's kind of how I feel ultimately, but I think I might be onto something with that special red thing. But there is something else here from Midori that I do want to talk about, and that is the tweets here that said, there was a project at Nintendo with the title Silver Star, Super Mario Odyssey is Red Star. Now, this to me reads like they're trying to indicate, or at least tell us, right? Like, there was a project at Nintendo called Silver Star, and it actually got canceled. Now, could that have been Odyssey DLC? We did get Luigi's Balloon Road, but we never got, like, substantial DLC for that game. Or could that have been Odyssey 2? Since it's the word silver, that kind of feels more like DLC to me. I was trying to find what the codename for Mario Galaxy 2 was. Evidently, it was just internally referred to as Super Mario Galaxy More. I'm not too sure the validity of that, but that's what I found after a quick little search here. So maybe it's possible Silver Star was intended to be Odyssey 2, but I actually find this to be more interesting than the SP Red codename, because this is the closest thing we will probably ever have to confirmation. Again, it's unverified information, but the closest thing we will have to confirmation that there actually was supposed to be another full 3D Mario game on the Switch, which honestly just makes so much sense, because out of almost all of Nintendo's teams and close partners, EPD8 is one of the only developers to only put out one full game this generation. I think we were totally supposed to get an Odyssey 2, or at least another full 3D Mario game on the Switch, but at some point plans changed. Maybe it was around the time Bowser's Fury came out. They realized, like, hey, Bowser's Fury is honestly enough. We don't need to do Odyssey, Bowser's Fury, and then a sequel to Odyssey. Maybe they were just like, okay, we can just refocus this development and really hone in on that big 40th anniversary next system seller 3D Mario game for the Switch 2 and have that ready. Because when you look at every other major Nintendo franchise, even their multiplayer stuff like Splatoon, we pretty much got 2 entries for everything. Even a developer like Next Level has put out 2 games, not within the same franchise, but we got Luigi's Mansion 3 and Mario Strikers Battle League. Monolith Soft, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3, and a bunch of other smaller things. EPD8 is definitely one of the few that only got out 1 game this generation, and I don't believe that was the original intention, but at some point plans changed and they shifted to just focusing on that. So maybe we'll see a lot of those scrapped ideas end up in the next 3D Mario game on Switch 2. I think that's totally possible. I don't think they would do an Odyssey 2 on Switch, though. I think this would be an entirely new thing for the 40th anniversary of Mario for the next 3D Mario game on Switch 2. I feel like that ship has sailed. I loved Odyssey. I recently saw, like, a lot of hate for that game, weirdly, on Twitter. I was very confused. I made a post about it, like, maybe a month ago or so, maybe a few weeks ago, and people were, like, really kind of down on Odyssey, and I was like, wait, what were you talking about? This game's freaking awesome. I don't know if it's my favorite 3D Mario. I do have a lot of nostalgia for Mario 64. I will not deny that, but Odyssey is fantastic, and I would be really happy if they did a sequel. I would have loved to have seen that on the Switch, but at this point, I think I would rather see something completely new from that team. I'll be really curious to see what kind of developer interviews we get around the time this new game actually ends up releasing. Maybe we get some information about this scrapped project at that point. Like if they tell us like, okay, SP Red started development in, let's say 2021. It's like, okay, well that basically confirms that whatever they were working on from 2018 to 2021 was canceled, right? Because Bowser's Fury, I'm pretty sure, was mostly handled by Nintendo Software Technology. They handled the ports of 3D World. Or if they are using a lot of scrapped content from Silver Star, or maybe Silver Star just kind of evolved into whatever SP Red is, that would imply this game has been in development for 7 years, right? Because Odyssey came out in 2017. Or let's say 6 years. Let's be a little bit more generous here. They took a little break after Odyssey, right? So 6 years of development time. I think it's entirely possible that this game is done. Like, maybe Nintendo's been sitting on this game for a while. The Switch 2 supposedly was going to come out in 2024. I think that game's probably ready, because I do think it will be a launch title, but very interesting stuff. You know, like I said at the top, it's a little hard to really get excited over a codename when we have no context, but it's something to talk about right now in a very slow time for Nintendo fans. Of course, moving into June, we have the June Direct, and then from there, at some point later this year, I assume we will be getting the Switch 2 reveal. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think of this SP Red codename for MIDORI, and what do you think of Silver Star? Do you think it was supposed to be Odyssey DLC? Do you think it was going to be a sequel to Odyssey? Or do you think it was something else entirely? I would love to get a conversation going down in the comments below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch news, reviews, coverage, discussions, all of that fun stuff. We love to do that on this channel. And until next time, folks, peace.